Good morning, flower friends. It's Madonna from Eastside Flower Farm, Los Angeles, California, Zone 9. And I need to restart some more seeds. I started my fall planting a couple weeks ago because my idea time to get them in the ground is usually between October 15th and October 25th. Trying to get all my fall stuff in the ground 4 to 6 weeks before our first frost. And for us, generally, it's about December 1st to December 15th. Last year, I think it was like around December 7th. So some of my stuff, I have my little trays, and my yarrow didn't germinate really well. My whites did not germinate at all. So I have one, literally one, maybe two, maybe. So I need to redo my whites, and so I'm not sure if I didn't leave this on the heating mat or I might have cooked them because we were still pretty warm and I had them on the heating mat. So I think they may have gotten just too much, but I do think the white was old seed. So we're going to start some more yarrow and some more Sweet William. I'm going to start. So I get my seed packets from 3 different places. I use Johnny's Seed, which is probably the most abundant seeds company. You can get just about anything all the time, almost, not always. So Johnny's is my primary, and then I get from the Gardener's Workshop from Lisa Mason Ziegler, and she has a really good selection of seeds. And these are my Sweet Williams. And then I love this seed company. It's called Redemption Seeds, and they also have a great selection, and they always send a cute little note with their seeds, and it's like wrapped up really nicely, and it's just a great little company. So I've really enjoyed ordering them from them, ordering my seeds from them. So this one is yarrow, or Arkelia millefolium, and this is a perennial. So I leave my yarrow in the ground, but I also plant new every year too, just so if the old ones start getting old and not producing enough, I still have some new ones to do. So we're going to reseed. So I'm going to show you quickly. I soil block. So I love these little trays. They fit 5 blocks of 20. So this little tray holds 100 seedlings, and they're little 3/4 inch. Here's my soil blocker, little 3/4 inch soil blocker. And what's really great about these, as opposed to the actual seed trays, is this will hold 100. Your regular seed trays hold 72. And so when I go to put these in the ground to these little soil blocks, I literally take a little square, pop my finger in the dirt, push those right in, and it is such a time and space saver. I love soil blocking. So how do I do my soil block? I start off with a handy dandy oil pan. Isn't that pretty cool? So this is what I mix my dirt in. I have my water, so I'm just gonna I use Fort V compost mix. It's a little spendy, but it's a really, really great germinator for my seeds. It doesn't have any chemicals or anything in it. And we are chemical-free farm, so I do not put chemicals or pesticides on any of my garden. So I have my oil pan filled with dirt, and I'm just going to put some water, right, just to get it moist. And then, of course, can't be without a potato masher. This is the best little stir. We've had this forever. And so I just take, and I mix my soil and water together. You just want it moist enough to hold together, but you do not want it dripping wet. So obviously if it's too dry, see this is still a little dry, that's not gonna work. So I'm gonna add a little bit more water, because you just, not like a brownie mix, it kind of looks like brown. Every time I post pictures of this on Facebook through my farm, people think I'm making brownies, and a lot of them think I'm making really terrible brownies because they don't look very edible because they're little dirt pods. So I'm just going to keep mixing this until I get the consistency that I'm looking for, which, like I said, it binds together. You know, you can hold it See, that's a little wet right there, but I gotta keep mixing it. So you want it wet enough to where it will release from the soil block, but you do not want it dripping. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more. It's all this, soil blocking took me several times to do before I actually got it right, because I was not good at it. And actually the first year I thought I was gonna give it up because I just could not get it right. So this is my 4th year gardening, doing my cut flower farm. So this has been a really good last year, and so I'm hoping it'll be really good next year too. So this, I can push my potato masher down, and there's a little bit of moisture. I think I'm just gonna add just a little bit more because there's a certain consistency. The one thing is if you get too much water, it's easier to add dirt. So you definitely want to do more opposed to less, and it'll be just fine. So little brownies. So what I do is when I think I have enough, is I just form it all to the middle. And I'm gonna show you right here. Take my little handy dandy soil blocker. Love this thing. And I form it all into the center, zoom out. So I just push it straight down, and I kind of go side to side, or rock it a little bit. So here's my soil in my blocker. So now I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna push it down on the tray, and I'm gonna click it a couple times while I release it. And there's my little blocks. Aren't they cute? So there's 20 3/4 inch blocks in here. And that side's a little bit less, but it's okay. It'll work. So then what I do is then I scoop it towards the middle again, because I always make a little mound. That way when you take your soil blocker again, and I just push straight down, I rock it back and forth a couple times, and I have my full of dirt, and then I put it on my tray, and I just push down, click it up a few times, and look at that. So that's 40. Will hold 40 plants already, and that is just really, really pretty amazing, actually. So, there's not a lot of stuff that you can do when you're doing the big trays. You have to have a really big room for it. And so this is such a huge time saver. So I'm just going to keep rocking it back and forth, rock it back and forth. Make sure it's flat. You want them flat because what happens if your soil blocks are not flat on the surface, and they bubble, so when you go to water them, like if the sides stick up, obviously those aren't going to get water. So you want to make sure that they're pretty flat. So 20, 40, 60 cells on here already. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to just keep holding it up in the center, making a little pile. So when I push straight down, and then I just rock it back and forth, lifting up either end, making sure that all the cells get full. And then I'm gonna take it over here, push it down, click it up. Now I'm at 20, 40, 60, 80. I have room for one more. So these little trays are great too. And I got those from the Gardener's Workshop, Lisa Mason Ziegler. And they have just a little bit of a lip on it. So when I water them, I just pour the water really light, because I always bottom water, really light into the corner of the tray, and then it fills up just a little bit. And then if I have to pour it off, it's easy to pour it down, because it's round right here. So these are space savers too. I'll show you my rack in just a little bit. So I'm gonna do one more pile here. Again, push down, rock it back and forth, make sure all of my cells are filled up, and then rake it smooth, full of my dirt, and I will push down, click it up. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside for just a second. Grab my little towel. So I'm gonna seed these, but first of all, I'm gonna show you. So right here, are my seedlings that are already in here. So see, here's my trays, my snapdragons. I'm gonna actually divide these today. I'm gonna take them out. I overfilled them, so I'm gonna take them out and put them in different cells. See, isn't this great? So they fit really nicely. I put 3 sideways and then I fill them out this way. So they are huge, huge space savers. I really enjoy them. So now we're gonna find where we are again. Okay, so my first seeds here. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get you where you can see both. Okay, so I now have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 seedlings that I can put in here. So these seedlings, and these are my yarrow, they're the white, they're the ones that for some reason didn't germinate, but I have a feeling it's because they were old. So this package is from Redemption Seed. And this year on the yarrow, I planted terracotta, which I think is going to be a gorgeous color, kind of like a clay pot. And then I'll do the white. I have summer berries and summer pastel. And I don't have any yellows. I just pure yellows. Last year I did a yellow, and I'm not sure what name it was, but it had a bad smell to it. I did not like it. I cut it, and every time I put it in a bouquet, I took it out. So here I have a little tray, and these are great. They're little aluminum trays because the seeds don't stick in there. So you know how sometimes you can get seeds and they stick from static electricity? These don't do this. So here's the yarrow. So always read your packet. These are perennial, and I will have them perennialized. And so it'll tell you whether you need to cover them or leave them where light, they need to have light. So you either cover the seed or you just put it on top. So some of them need darkness to germinate, some of them need light to germinate. So these ones need light to germinate. So I'm just gonna lay them on top, but press them, make sure they're in contact with the soil. Lay them on top, and then at 70 to 75 degrees, light to germinate. It says barely cover, so I'm just going to barely press them into the soil, and then 10 to 14 days to germinate. So I knew those other ones, after 2 weeks, they didn't come up. I knew they weren't going to come up. So the one thing with these seeds is they are itty bitty. These are yarrow seeds. Can you see? I don't even know if you can see them. See how they keep rolling back? They're so tiny. You have to have really good eyes. So what I do is I use toothpicks. So because these are, I'm going to put it this way so I can actually see the light. So because these are so tiny, sometimes I really have to search for light. So what I do, I like my toothpick. Some people actually have a little thing of water, like there's water in here, I could use this. So what I do is I pick up these itty bitty tiny little seeds and I just plop them. So I'm just gonna press them into the soil just so they have contact, because they do need light to germinate, and it says barely cover. So I can just pop these in one at a time, but press them down to make sure there is contact in here. So I should have started these earlier, and I did start them earlier, except for, like I said, they didn't germinate. So I'm going to redo these. What I'm hoping for, because we are, like today, it is October 9th. And we still have, well, we don't still have, we have very cool weather. And that is untypical for us here in far north California. So this morning we went from 92 degrees yesterday to, I think it's like supposed to be 74 or 72 today. That's a huge drop in temperature. So it is cloudy and it is overcast, and basically my cutting flower, the parts that were left, are pretty much done. Now, here's the thing with the seeding, is when you're talking, it's really hard to keep track of where you're at. So because these seeds are so small, you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. And I can see just little tiny white specks. Some of these seeds are dark, so you can't see, but these ones are white, so I can kind of see where they're at. But what happens is if I'm seeding and I have to stop, say my husband comes in or Braden comes in, what I'll do is I'll take my toothpick and I'll stick it right there. You know, I'll just kind of put it where I know I left off that way, because I always go in the same order. So I do that. So for this, I'm going to continue. I just seeded, in just that little amount of time, I just seeded 20 little soil blocks of yarrow. So I just barely put them on top. You can't see. I'm not even going to try to show you because you can't see. So I just press them in to make sure that they have contact with the dirt. So I'm going to do 40 of these in the white. So I'll do two of these in white, and then I'm going to do 3 blocks, which is 20, 40, 60, in the summer berries, which are your brighter pinks and your reds and maybe your oranges, but I think the terracotta is going to be really cool too. So today I'm going to finish those. Then I'm going to do all my Sweet Williams, which are, I love them. They're so cool. So I have hot pinks, a purple, pink magic, and a white. I didn't know I got white. I got a white. That's kind of cool. And then I'm going to do some more Godacia, because my Godacia also did not germinate. And I think because my seed packet was old, and it kind of went from the living room to the bedroom to the closet, and I think it might have gotten a little hot. So, and it's an old seed packet. It was probably 3 years old. So I'm going to plant some new ones of those. And I'm just going to kind of wing it. And as long as we don't get an early frost, I think I can do okay. Because we're really warm here in the wintertime. Last year, we got 4 or 5 days of 27 degrees. For us, that was freezing cold. I was beside myself. For the rest of the country, that's pretty warm. So we can get away with a lot of fall planting. Actually, last year, I planted every single month. October, November, December, January, February, March, and then of course my regular. And even when it was freezing, I lost less than 20 plants. So I covered them. You know, I hooped and covered some rows that I thought might not do well, and it all did well. So I'm going to keep doing that this year, because I think I think we're going to have a wet year this year, which is great. But I don't think, our freeze isn't like all you guys that have 0 and whatever, negative whatever. I can't even imagine. That's just terrible. So I'm going to get back with my seeding today. And also, as soon as I'm done seeding these, everything goes on heat mat. So I have my heat mat right here. And so what I do is it's set, and this one has a temperature gauge. It is SunPad Pro. So it's set at 70 degrees. So I then I'll plug this in here in a second. So I germinate my winter for my fall planting. As soon as I put them all in here, I have little cooling racks, baking, that I sit on here just so if the heating pad gets too hot, my seedlings aren't getting cooked from putting them right on the mat. So I actually raise them a little bit and put them right on the cooling racks so that there's a little bit of gap between them so they don't get burnt, because I have cooked them before. So I just put up all my trays on here, and then as I seed them, I pop them on here. So as soon as my seeds, as soon as I see 50% bursting out of their seed, and I'm not looking for this, I'm looking for them just cracked, just barely germinated. So as soon as I know that the seed is cracked and germinating 50% of this, then I will take that and I pop it right under my lights here, and then they just start growing from there. So I only leave them here for about 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'll put them outside and let them germinate. I will let them go outside to harden off because they're already germinated. So these 4 to 6 weeks, then they'll go outside for a week to harden off, and then I'll put them in the ground. So that is the beginning of my fall seeding. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them. Otherwise, start planting, start seeding, start germinating, start getting your garden ready for next spring. And so I'm going to say right quick too, a lot of you, because I'm in zone 9B, so a lot of you, it's too late to start. And I don't know that it's too late, it's just you might need extra protection like a hoop house or row cover, because our frost date is late. So it's, like I said, it's it's October 9th. So some of you should have started your seeds a long time ago, weeks ago. So for us, I think we're fine because, like I said, we usually get our first frost between December 1st and December 15th. So regardless, even if you think that it's going to be a little warmer, just try it, because even if you put them out and, like I said, you put hoops and you cover it, or you lay cover on the ground, just something to insulate them a little bit, it might work. Just give it a shot. Obviously, if you're in zones 3, 4, or 5 where it's super cold, you're past your prime. But for us, I'm going to keep seeding until spring. So with that being said, you guys have a great day. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.